my name is Beatrice, I'm your host here on Beatrice's Book Nook, and welcome back to another vlog. This vlog is going to be a little bit special, or actually very special, because it is kind of sponsored by a friend of mine. So she asked me at the end of last year for me to give her a few recs, which would be kind of the situation of 12 books, 12 friends, but she asked me for 3 recommendations. I gave them to her, and at a certain point, I don't know how I got this, but I asked her to give me a few recs the other month, and she gave them to me, and I decided it would be fun for me to film these because I believe she's known here and there. Here on BookTube, at least on my side of BookTube, people know who she is. She participates in a lot of readathons. She is the crazy girl that reads a lot of books every month, which go girl, I wish I could be you. And this friend is Libbie. I don't know how to show you who is Libbie. She's known here and there, but I love Libbie. I really enjoy being her friend, and I enjoy having her as a friend, to be honest. And we have very different reading tastes. We are understanding, but she gave me 5 recommendations. I am going to let you know them when the time comes, but I have already read kind of 2 of them when I'm starting this vlog. So let me provide to you those updates. Let me show to you the recommendations I have already read, what I thought of them, and let's talk about them for a little bit, shall we? Okay, so first we have to talk about the first book that I read, and I have the funniest story about me getting this book. So I got it when I went to the Lisbon Book Fair this year. To be honest, the book is out of print here in Portugal, and I was going down like the stands, and out of nowhere I looked to the side, and there it was, the book, which is The Princess and the Grilled Cheese Sandwich. And I was like and like the 2 ladies that were on the stand and my mom, they were like, what is happening, is anyone hurt? And I'm like, no, it's just a book. So the book that I wanted, that I knew was out of print, was there. This was actually, I was able to snatch one of the last 2 editions that were available for sale, so I'm quite happy that I was able to. But I have read this book when I'm filming. I think I have read it last week, at the beginning of last week, and let me talk to you about what the book is. Basically, this is going to be sounding very strange, but we are following the cheese land. Yes, you heard it right. The book is about cheese. All of the characters, they are named after cheeses. We have camembert, we have gouda, we have fromage, we also have brie. So we have, no, fromage is like the kingdom name. We also have what is it called, gorgonzola. We also have ricotta. So we have a few cheeses that I have represented in here. And basically at the beginning of her book, her father dies, and because she is an only child, she doesn't have any brothers, and she's not even married, her father cannot give the money to her. So the inheritance, unless she portrays being someone that she isn't, the inheritance cannot go to her. So basically what she does is she restarts her life so that she can have the inheritance that it's hers by right. So she starts new, and she's told by her dad to stay on the low side, but she starts to get bored, and she goes to a ball. She meets Brie, which is our then main character, and they develop a relationship, first a friendship, and then they start to get feelings for each other. And technically Camembert, which is this lady here, she is not able to be in a relationship with Brie because, well, she's a lady, portraying to be a man so that she can get the inheritance that it's hers by right. So Camembert is very distraught about this because she knows what she has to do to keep her position and to keep the word that she said to her father, but at the same time she wants to be with Brie and she wants to be in a happy relationship with her. So my opinions on this book. First, I love the book. I think, if you know me, an art style is something that I really enjoy in books, especially in graphic novels. I really love the book. First, I enjoyed the colors so much. There is a page, I'm going to be showing it to you, that is a full-on pink page that I really enjoyed because one of our characters, her main color is pink, and I think that is like amazing. I really enjoy that. For example, this one, it's so pretty. Okay, so the art style, I think it was amazing. Other than that, I think that the story is very interesting because it kind of takes us back to a period of time in the world where women didn't have as many rights as we have right now. And I think it is a very interesting way to provide and to portray kind of an critique to society in a way, because yes, although we are women, we can also represent our fathers, we can also represent our families, and the fact that we don't have any brothers or are married to a man, that doesn't put us in a lower place than it should. So I think it was very interesting. I really enjoyed all of the characters. I think the story portrayed such a deep message that not that I haven't seen anywhere. Obviously nowadays this type of message is portrayed quite a lot, but I think that the way that it was done, I think it was kind of good, almost in a satiric way, but not really, because it portrays society quite well. And I think the fact that our most feminine, most girly pop character, she is the one that kind of is the revolutionary one. She has different mindsets, she has a different mindset, she has different ideas, she has different opinions that she wants to break. And she wants to break the rulings of what it's natural in that time of period. And I think this is very interesting, and this is quite a good book for young kids to read that are still discovering themselves. I have this is not the first one that I see it this way. There are quite a few books that I have read lately. This one and the other one that was Mismatched, they are not hard books to read, but they both portray such deep messages that I think they are really worth hearing and really worth the time into taking on reading the books. Other than that, there is no other than that. I gave this book a 5-star. I really enjoyed the character. I really enjoyed the art style. I think the story is very, very, very important for today's society, that the fact that you don't need a man to be someone in society. It's me, it's myself. I don't need a man because I don't have one besides my father to be in society, and I can vouch for my family. I am the one that will always vouch. I have my grandma, she was a single mother for quite some time, so I come from a very strong female family kind of thing. I don't know how to say what I want to say, to be honest. And I don't know, I just think that this was such an amazing book. The fashion in it, impeccable. I think the story just develops in a really nice pace. I think everything is portrayed and shown in such a nice way, and I think the fact that they took cheese to name all of the characters, I think it's so fun. It's so not an original, but it's original because I have never seen anything like this. And the sense of betrayal that at some point is felt in the book, I felt it. Like, you can really feel what the characters are feeling through their emotions, through their faces, and through the things that they say. And I think this was really well done. But at the top of everything, I think it is such a strong feminist book that, oh my gosh, it is coming, and I love it. I had the best time reading this book, so that is definitely a plus for Libbie. So this was the first one. Let's talk about the second one, shall we? Okay, and now that we have talked about the best, or not the best, but the first very good experience, let's talk about the worst experience I believe we are going to have in this vlog. I tried, friends. I really tried to read This Is How You Lose the Time War. I'll put the cover in here somewhere. But I had to DNF the book at 35%, and that is due to the fact that only at 20% in, I was able to understand that the characters were time travelers, and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. I was not able to understand that until now. Secondly, was because I was 35% in, and I basically didn't know or was understanding what was happening until I took a little bit of time to understand why was that, and then I finally got it. The book is philosophical, friends, and I know, and this helped me understand that Libbie and we have a little bit of a different reading taste. Libbie really enjoys prosy books, books that are a little bit more written, let's say like this, where I do enjoy books that I can just read them, you know. And basically what happened and why I'm saying this way is due to the fact that while reading This Is How You Lose the Time War, I understood that although yes, English is not my main language, I believe that I do understand English at almost a native level. And friends, even in Portuguese, I don't understand philosophy. I have a really hard time understanding it. So how come will I understand philosophy when it comes in English? I won't. So due to this, I ended up and decided that it was good for me to DNF the book. So I ended up DNFing it at 25% in. I think the concept is very interesting. Basically, as far as I understood, we are looking at two different characters from two different sides of a war. They are both time travelers, and they communicate through leaving messages and letters in certain locations so that each other can look at them. Basically, they, as far as I could tell from the synopsis, they also end up falling in love at some point. I think I was starting to see the beginnings of that, but I wasn't fully grasping or being able to grasp whatever was happening around certain moments and certain sentences here and there. At a point, friends, they even started to talk about Socrates, and I don't understand philosophy, as I've said before, in Portuguese, so most likely I will not understand it in English. So that is a bummer. Because I know Libbie really enjoys this book, but I had to, for the sake of my mind, to DNF the book because it was just not the right thing for me. I have told Libbie this, and she said that it is fine, and that she understands. And yeah, I think this is my second update. I will tell you more once I have more to talk about. I'm currently on to the next book, which is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, and I am so excited. I am really enjoying this. Here is a spoiler. So once I have more information to provide to you, I will come back. So I'll see you later, friends. Klaus? 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 Tempestade, tempestade. Calma, calma, eu tenho que descongelar, peraí. Não. Vai, eu tô em terra. Tô. Por onde? Vais lá tu? Cloud is barking. Life is, well, lifing. I am currently recovering from sick, and I have been putting the update for the Tainted Cup off for quite some time. And what is happening with this camera? So, friends, it is time now for me to share with you all of the thoughts for the Tainted Cup. I have finished the book for quite a while. My thoughts have been sitting on me for a little bit, so let me share everything with you. So, in Tainted Cup, we follow primarily two people. We follow a small agent called Denius Cole, and then, or a lesser, he's not technically a lesser agent, he's an assistant agent. And then we follow our main agent, who is Anna Dulabra. The book is all told by the point of view by Denius Cole, and oh my gosh, I was not expecting half of this to happen. And something that I quite enjoyed into this book, and something that I have been noticing that I enjoy, which technically I already knew. I once tried to start a story about biopunk, so technically writing a book about it. So why is it so suspicious that one of the things that I enjoy in books is plants, and plants coming out of nowhere especially? So in this situation, we follow our two main characters, but the story is mainly told from the point of view of Denius, or better, the way that he's called is Cole, and we follow his adventures, his path into trying to discover the mystery of what is happening to everyone and to the hierarchy of the continent. Basically, a strange death happened where, and I believe this is told in the description of the book. So a tree spontaneously erupted from the body from an officer, so an imperial officer, and he died because of that. So it is then the job of Anna and Denius, or Cole, to better understand what happened and all of that. Why I loved this book. There are so many things about this book that I really enjoyed. The main one is, as I've said before, the plants, the biopunk inspiration that got me. I really enjoyed that part. I love weird plants, and weird plants that we don't know where they came from. I'm signed in. Then I just loved Anna's character. She is depicted as a weird character because she has a few like weird kind of remarks here and there. We get to know her throughout the book, and honestly, I think she's such a well developed character, and the way that the author made her character is so good. And I think that keeping writing her must have been really hard because she has a very peculiar way to act and a very peculiar way to discern certain situations, but I think it was so nicely done, and oh my gosh, I loved it. Then, talking about our main boy, which is Cole, he was an interesting character. I really enjoyed to know of his disabilities. I think it was a very nice little touch for the author to put in there, especially when it comes to, I believe it is some sort of dyslexia that he has, but we never get 100% confirmed. But I believe that's what happened. And then at the end, when we figure out why Anna chose him, I think it's so wholesome. And then all of the mystery, I think the mystery is so well developed, and every time we uncover a new piece, Anna is like, yeah, I already knew that, yeah, I already knew that. And I'm like, girl, if you already knew that, why? But I understand she needs the proof and all of that. But I think in the end, the book was so well scripted, the book was so well developed that I just want more, and I cannot wait to read the second book. Honestly, this book has a lot of things that I enjoy. I like a good mystery. This one had it. Keep in mind, I'm not the best at picking up clues, so that's why it was good for me. It had some really good character development. I liked Dinius. I liked his relationships with every of the other characters. I liked to discover the little nitty gritty like things that were happening in the book. There were some things that I was able to pick up from quite early on, but there were others that I didn't know were happening. And I quite liked to see the things develop, and I am interested in this Leviathan a little bit more. So I want to keep reading. I want to read the second one. I think it's A Drop of Corruption, if I'm not wrong, and it's yellow. So yeah, this is another hit from Libbie. I have to still read 2 books. Those are going to be the smallest one. The video is supposed to come out in a month. Today is the 11th of September, and I haven't started any of those 2 videos, and I need to finish them, not the videos but the 2 books, and I need to finish them in the next 20 days, so wish me luck. Okay, friends, I am in a terrible condition. I am very tired. I don't know why, but I have been like dreadfully living life. But I have just finished the Kamogawa Food Detectives, and let me give you my opinions because this was a cute little book. I quite liked it. I think this book is written by a Japanese author, which is Isashi Kashiwai. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. And basically, the way that he decided to portray basically this book, or let's say basically this novel, and the way that it is doing is, and this is very common for you to see in a lot of Japanese and Asian books. So you have one big book. The book is then divided by big chapters. Normally, each chapter contains a story, and they tell the full story within that chapter. So, for example, we have the first chapter, which is dedicated to Nabeaki Udon. I think it's one of the middle ones, maybe the fourth, if I'm not wrong exactly, which is dedicated to tonkatsu. So we have quite a few. And why am I naming here Japanese dishes? Well, that is actually an important part onto this book, because the food detectives, the Kamagawa food detectives, they are a pair of a father and a daughter, and the father used to be a police detective, so it used to be his job, but he always loved to cook. And they decided when the wife died, so the daughter's mother, they decided to open a restaurant, and then besides that they also opened an detectives agency. So this is normally not your typical detective agency, because what they are looking for and what they are kind of detecting, let's say like that, exactly food dishes. So people go to the Kamagawa detectives to find dishes that used to be from their past, that they want to eat again, and that they have either not been able to eat, not been able to find again, or even it brings them a lot of memories. And this is what our lovely father and daughter Kamagawa, so Koshi and Nagare, so Koshi is the daughter and Nagare is the father, they do. So they first, every chapter starts with the person that is looking for the dish to go into the Kamagawa restaurant. They always have this trouble to not actually find the restaurant, because it is kind of hidden, let's say like that. And then they, once the person arrives, they provide to them their own kind of like menu. So it is not, there is no set menu in this restaurant. So when the person arrives, they give them an assortment of dishes, and they eat that, and from there they go to the back office, so to like the office for the detective, where Koshi will talk with them and better understand what memories they have from that dish, where they used to be, things like that. Then the second part of the chapter, which is going to be when the dish is actually ready, is the person more talking with Nagare than with Koshi. So Nagare, he is the one that does the dishes, detects the dishes, let's say like that, search for them, and is the one that kind of, how can I say this, kind of gets the dishes ready for the people that are looking for that specific dish. A lot of the times, and a few times, he leaves Koshi to finish the dish while he talks with the person that is looking for them, and he gives them a little bit of a backstory, so a little bit of a concept for the dish. He did the detective work, so he is sharing the detective work with them. And we have about 6 stories. All of them are very different. All of them have a different dish that they are portraying. My favorite one was, I believe, if not the sixth, a lot better, maybe the fifth. I didn't really liked the sixth, I'm sorry, the last one that I just read. My favorite one was definitely the fifth one, and the reason why it was the fifth one is due to the fact that the girl was looking for something that she ate with her grandpa, and I no longer have my grandparents with me. They have all passed away already, so I kind of related to that story a lot. I also like the one for the tonkatsu, mostly because I know what tonkatsu is. My least favorite was the last one, and I think the goal from the author was actually that, for the last one to be kind of the least favorite, the one that puts us a little bit more, gives us a little bit more of a bad feeling, let's say like that, because the main character, the guy that was looking for the dish in that story, he's quite of an asshole, to be honest. But overall, I really enjoyed this book. I am going to be giving it 4 stars, just because there were moments I loved, but I just enjoyed the book. I don't think it's my all-time favorite, so that's why it's not getting 5 stars, but it's a good 5 star. I think it's a good 4 star. So I think it's amazing. It's cute. It's a nice, like, cozy read, and I really enjoyed reading The Food Detectives. We actually on this vlog only have 1 book left. Let me go grab it so that I can show it to you. So either today or even tomorrow I will be starting to read it, but let me go grab it. It's the last one, and the one that, not saying that I'm most excited about, but I'm quite excited for it, and we are talking A Study in Drowning. I don't know, I love this cover. I have another book by Ava Reed that I didn't know I had by this author, but I haven't read it yet, so I'm quite excited. This one is also going to be in Portuguese. I was lucky enough to get most of the books for this video in Portuguese. Normally I can read them a little bit faster than English books, so I'm quite excited and I cannot wait to read this one.
Eventually.
Hello friends! Shall we talk about our last book? Because I have just finished yesterday, during like late hours, A Study in Drowning, and I am speechless. So let me tell you a little bit more about the book. So in this book we are following Effie. Effie, she is a northern girl from this country that Reed has set up, and she is currently studying in the University of Architecture, being one of the only, if not really the only, girls that studies in there. Certain day she sees in the hallways an announcement for a competition asking for the students to make a project to renovate the house of Myrdin. So the house of, and exactly who is Myrdin? So Myrdin, he's one of the like saints, let's say like that. They call them in Portuguese os adormecidos, but in English I believe it's something to do like the sleeping gods, something like that. I am very much unsure. But why Myrdin has just died at the time of the book 6 months prior, and he was put with this title because of what he did. He was one of the biggest writers of this country, and they, with his magic kind of situation, they think it will help the war that is going to be happening with the neighboring country. So in this book we follow Effie. Effie is then chosen as the winner for this competition, and she goes to the house of Myrdin, and she discovers that the house is not really what she was thinking it would be. The house and Mirdin with his family, they used to live there in a very kind of like hermit situation. So Mirdin, due to his past being a coming from a very poor family, he kind of decided to, or not decided, but he never gave much importance to renovating the house and taking good care of it. So the house is in a big decay state. So in this house, she discovers Preston. Preston, he is what the student that is going through Mirdin's stuff, such as his letters, his work, everything that is in his office, because he is working on his thesis about this author, about Mirdin. So later we discover that Preston's intentions are not exactly as he was portraying them in the beginning, and we then discover one more character that is very important for the story, who is Iantu. Iantu, he is the son of Mirdin. He was the one that technically chose Effie to take onto this project. A lot happens, and one thing that it's very important to say is that Effie, and the reason why Mirdin is so important is because he wrote this book called Engard, and its most famous work, and is the work that he is known for. And in this work we have a thing called the Fairy King, and the Fairy King, basically, how do we say this in English, but he hunts Effie, and due to this and due to things that happened in Effie's past, they end up discovering some truths that no one really thought they were truths. So let me talk now a little bit more about the experience that I had with this book. So there are certain situations that I quite have a really hard time with. When it comes to very prosy books, a lot of the times I have a hard time with them, especially if they are in English, but since I was reading the book in Portuguese, I could very easily get past that. So I think, although I was reading the book in Portuguese and you kind of already know my stance on translated works, we are reading an interpretation, not the real work that the author wrote. I still think that the book is very well written. We can kind of understand what the author really intended for this book and the very beautiful words that she wanted for it. The second thing that I have to say is that I think these characters, they are very well developed. They have a lot of depth. All of them actually have a lot of depth. They are amazingly developed, and their past, their story, and everything. I think it is an amazing book, and it is amazingly developed, as well as the world. The world, although it is a very kind of simple world, I think it's very well developed, very well thought of, and I think Ava Reed did a really good job in developing that. Now let me talk to you about the story, because I think that was the thing that I enjoyed the most. A lot of the times I really enjoy academia books such as this one, although I have a hard time with certain type of academia, such as the Ninth House, which I ended up DNFing, but this one is the type of academia that I can get well with because I really enjoy it. So I loved in this book the talk about the universities, and I loved in the book additionally as well the feminism aspect, because we are looking into kind of old days in the real life kind of situation where technically the women are not as well seen. They are seen as something that is futile and that doesn't have brains, and their only task is to look pretty and give kids to the men. So the men are basically in this world, as well as they were into our past. They are the ones that kind of rule everything. They are the ones that are allowed to go to universities. They are the ones that are allowed to to learn the hard topics such as literature. So Effie, due to that, because she always wanted to study literature, but because of this kind of very men, very society, let's say it like that, she goes to the architecture university and she's the first woman in there. So throughout the book, we do really see a big development into Effie's character, getting to know a little bit better of what she is capable of, and that she is actually someone that can defy things, that can get through hard stuff. And I think this is one of the things that I really enjoyed about this book, especially with the second main character, which is Preston, which is the love interest on this book. Preston never kind of downsized Effie and what she was thinking, although he in the beginning is known as being, how do I put it in English? He is known as being someone that is not very approachable. He ends up being, actually, in my opinion, quite someone that is very interesting to be around, and also someone that defends hardly the ones that he enjoys. Additionally, I think that the love on this book is so well developed, so amazingly done. I think that I have for quite some time been longing a book like this, especially when it comes to romance, because it is not a book where they meet and they are already kissing. That is not anything like that. So they meet, they don't like each other, then they start to work together towards one goal, and then they discover that they have feelings for each other, which is something that I prefer, instead of like the oh, I looked at you and I love you already kind of situation, you know? One of the things that I have to say is, additionally, this book left me with a big feeling of longing, nostalgia, and then I discovered that the best word that I had to describe it was saudade. Saudade is actually a Portuguese word. We are the only ones in, well, all of the many tongues and languages that we speak in the world that have actually this word, and a word that can portray this specific feeling. So that is basically a feeling of you missing someone, but it's something more deeper, something a lot more than just missing. You are missing longing. You are, I don't know how to explain it, but if you search the word so that it's here, you will be able to find a lot of explanations on why it is such a meaningful word. And that is mainly because I have never felt the way that I did with a book like this in so long. The last time that I felt like this in a book was when I read Pride and Prejudice, which was quite a few years ago. And every time that I think of that book, I have the same feeling that I have or had when I was reading A Study in Drowning. And I think this is one of the best feelings to have, especially because I don't normally give very high stars. I give 4s and 3s a lot, but these year 5s, they are not at all. I don't think I have come up to 10 5 stars yet, but this one, it is not a 5-star, it is actually a 6-star, because this book touched me. It had all of the things that I enjoy. It had fantasy, it had academia, which is something that I really like in books. It had talk about the ocean. If you know, you know, or if you don't, it's fine. I will say it again. I love when books talk about the ocean and have it as a big part of the story. And then it had a nice and interesting romance for me to look into. So all in all, I think this book was amazingly done. I think Eva Reed is definitely a author that I look forward to more. I have a second book from her, which is one of her most recent, like, books she has put out, which I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the book, but I'll put the cover here. You will see it here. And now I am going to be anxiously waiting for the translation of the second book to come, because it is already out. It has come out in August of this year, so now we need to wait a little bit to see if the publisher here in Portugal is going to be releasing it. If not, I already have the intention on getting hardcover copies of this one and the second one, so I might read it in English instead of Portuguese. Let's see how actually that goes. Other than that, I think this is all for this book. I think this was the one that I was most excited about, and rightly so, because it is also my favorite one and has become a new favorite of mine. So yeah, let me do the outro and let you go. Okay, friends, and this is all that I have for today's video. I had a lot of fun. It was still summer when I started to do it, as you might have seen from the beginning of the video, and we are now in fall. It's the 2nd of October when I'm finishing filming it, and oh my gosh, I am so excited. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I think this video turned out really good, and I was kind of surprised because I don't think many people have had such a big success in giving me books to read as well as Libbie did. So I think I will conclude this as a success. So we had 1 DNF, 2 5-stars, which was the cheese toast and the tinted cup, and then we also had the other one, which was a 4-star, which is the food detectives, and then this one, which I am considering a 6-star and a favorite book of mine from now on. So I think this was very successful for Libbie, and yeah, I had a lot of fun and I loved doing this video. Let me know if you want to see more of these type of videos. I might ask a few more friends to do it for me. So yeah, without any further ado, friends, I will let you go. I know you have been here for quite some time, and I'll see you all on my next video, which is next week. Until then, have a rest of a lovely day, night, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you then. Bye, friends!